Hey guys, it looks like you guys aren't into the Iseman story. At least the post I put up yesterday, it hasn't gotten very many views. I'm wondering what don't you like about this story? My feeling is that the affair part of the story is one part of the story. It's a titillating part of the story. But the part of the story that really interests me is the ethical bypass that Senator McCain seems to have had. Here's the guy who brought us McCain-Feingold, and now he seems, not by his actions anyway, to favor lobbying reform. It seems Senator McCain's involvement with Vicki Iseman as a member of the Washington-based lobbying firm of Alcalde and Fay caused him to send 3 letters with regard to sustaining a loophole permitting media monopoly to extend its concentration to the public airwaves by allowing more than one television outlet in a media market. In one of the letters, McCain all but threatened changes in agency policy, composition, and a complete overhaul of the FCC by congressional committees if the loophole was closed. This drew the ardor of the FEC chair. The retention of the loophole was of vital importance to Glencairn Limited, a client of Vicki Iseman. McCain said yesterday in what seemed to be a blanket statement that he never had any conversation on behalf of any lobbyist. Maybe in Washington, lobbying ends when pillow talk begins. The other startling thing in this story was yesterday when he issued his denial. McCain said that he never did anything to breach the public trust. Well, whether he did or he didn't breach the public trust, that's something we'll find out as we move along. I happen to think that he did. But he may have breached the trust of his marriage. Well, McCain says he never sent letters. In a 2000 deposition, the senator acknowledges he sent 2 letters to regulators on behalf of Bud Paxson, Paxson Communications, and a McCain contributor. On Glencairn, the campaign said Mr. McCain's efforts to retain the loophole were not done at Ms. Iseman's request. According to the New York Times, quote, a review of the record, including agency records now at the National Archives, and interviews with participants, shows that Mr. McCain played a significant role in killing the plan to eliminate the loophole. His actions followed requests by Ms. Iseman and lobbyists at other broadcast companies, including lobbying records and congressional aides. Also, according to the Times, by November of 1998, the FEC was planning to strike down broadcast marketing agreements, a potentially ruinous development for Glencairn. But after receiving Mr. McCain's December 1st letter, it put off consideration of the decision. Also, the letter said that as a leading participant in the passage of the 1996 Act, I have a clear understanding of the law's intent and why it required the ownership loophole to be preserved. Mr. McCain was one of 5 senators and the only Republican to vote against the act. He was also an outspoken critic against it. While other companies also complained to Congress about the plan to close the loophole, the issue was particularly important to Sinclair because it had more marketing agreements than any in the nation. For its part, Glencairn appeared to be getting very little support in Congress until it hired Ms. Iseman in 1998. The campaign said that Mr. McCain never spoke with Ms. Iseman about the issue, but that she did speak to his staff about Mr. Edwards and Mr. McCain. They met. Mr. Edwards, from Glencairn, met on July 20th, 1999, according to the campaign. The Iseman ethical bypass story has resulted in a duel of fundraising letters by the McCain campaign to rally the base of conservatives around McCain, while the DNC pitch hit McCain on ethical improprieties. As mentioned yesterday, both McCain's campaign manager and Senate staff director both hold jobs as lobbyists to 2 separate firms. As with Vicki Iseman, campaign manager Rick Davis also represented several telecommunications megacorps. The Times was right to use the Iseman allegations as a condition precedent, which illustrates that the self-proclaimed emperor of ethics wears no clothes. In a related manner, now this is stunning, in a related manner, McCain told reporters yesterday that he would probably remove Arizona Representative Rick Ramsey as his Arizona co-chair. Ramsey was indicted yesterday on 35 counts of conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, insurance fraud, and extortion. The charges carry maximum sentences of 20 years. One of the counts of the indictment include the sale of public land to a private company with a kickback to Ramsey. Ramsey is an Arizona colleague of McCain, must have been knowledgeable of the 18-month investigation, particularly since the Arizona and Washington gossip machine. The story was probably grist for the gossip mills in both places for months. McCain's selection of such a bad actor to be in the campaign co-chair, a member of McCain's leadership team, again demonstrates his poor judgment. This promotes the image that, like most members of Congress, the emperor wears no clothes when it comes to the role of lobbyist and the legislative process. The bottom line is the FEC loophole should not have been closed. McCain should not have persons under indictment serving in leadership roles in his campaign. And McCain's self-proclaimed ethical watchdog wears no clothes. It wears no clothes. And it threatens one of the basic elements of a campaign. It's one of the basic elements of a campaign. Before I take on a client, the first question I ask the client is, why are you running? Well, it seems to me that McCain can't answer lobby reform and campaign ethics. This is Joe Garcia, and the site is reform@squarespace.com. The site is reform@squarespace.com. And I can be reached via email at 2008reform@gmail.com, 2008reform@gmail.com. We'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye.